Our apologies on what just happened. Our apologies on what has just happened, unfortunately, in typical South African style. Believe it or not, even a place as upmarket and gorgeous as Dainfern is hit by load shedding, and that's what's just happened to us. But we are back on air and ready to bring you the rest of the action in the third and final series of the TrueSport.tv Bushveld Tour. 3 tournaments, and this is the third and final one here at Dainfern. Beautiful Dainfern, 1,200 homes stand guard around this lovely golf course designed by Gary Player and Phil Jacobs in the early 90s. Back out to the golf course now, and this is Simon Creer. This is on the 11th, another testy hole. Got to find the right way in. Here the flag is just 7 from the left hand side, and in the front the green is actually 36 meters deep. It's a long green. Krieger's playing partner, the man from Rome, Philip Geertz, and no relation whatsoever. Looks like a 7-iron, and he's given that a lot. Leaning, is that fading just a little? It looks like it. On the par 4 10th up the hill, Slade Pickering. Pickering was 1 under at the turn with a 35, 2 birdies, the 1 drop shot, the drop coming on the tough par 3 6th. And now lining up a birdie putt here, but first it looks like it's Stuart Krog who's away. Krog, of course, we showed you his travails on the 8th, then made a par up the hill to the 9th, and then here on the 10th. Another tough green. This is not the easiest green to read. He's given that a good run. Good putt. Positive. On the 11th tee at the same time, it's Luke Tricado. Again, deciding to swap clubs. We've seen him do that once already. So quite clearly, the windy conditions just putting a little bit of doubt in the mind. And you know, when there's doubt, you often don't commit completely. Try to cut that up there. Connor McKenzie now, back on the 10th green, 1 hole further back. Nicely done. So starts the back 9 with a 3. That's exactly what you would have wanted. Pickering down the hole. That is just so sweetly done. Those shorties that go from left to right are often so much more missable than the ones from right to left, depending on what you are, left-eyed or right-eyed. Believe it or not, that does make a difference. And Krog to do the last bit of gardening here too. No problems. Still needs to right the ship. 4 over for the day. He's had his travails. Beaconwood's Pride, Slade Pickering. Just 24 years old and still learning his trade. cut or follow through. Trying to hold it down underneath the wind. Let's take a look at the 11th in the flyover, and measures 192 meters, and from that shot, that is so reminiscent of a Scottish links. It's got all the humps and bumps and little intricacies. The Yuxkay River in play up the left-hand side. You certainly don't want to pull it. Large pot bunkers that Gary Play in his wisdom has put 4 of around this green, virtually surrounded. Connor McKenzie. Looks like he's trying to hook that in there. Giving it the 1,000-yard stare, so it must have been good off the club face. And Krog, who's plummeted down the leaderboard, had 1 or 2 mistakes that has really cost his campaign here at Dainfern Golf Estate. Got a very interesting pre-shot routine. There we go. He's unhappy again. Just not in a good space with his swing at the moment, and he's leaving himself. He's missing in bad places. Often that is the secret to protecting a card, is missing in the good places. But unfortunately, young Stewie Krog from Harare in Zimbabwe is missing in the wrong spots. Onto the 10th tee, right in front of that beautiful and imposing clubhouse. Dylan O'Leary. The river in play all the way up the left-hand side. You certainly want to try and fade it off that and put it in the middle of the fairway. To the right, there isn't much space either. It's actually quite a tight driving hole. Luckily, it is shortish and plays to a distance of around about 350 meters, that is. So most of these lanes won't have much more than a sand wedge in. And you do have space on the right-hand side if you should fade it a little too much. But a little power fade off the tee is definitely the shot here. There we go. That's interesting that young Wilsenach has decided to use a long iron. Only wants to get this in position. You almost want to play this exactly like you play the first as well. A twirl of the club. That tells you came right out the middle, Cyril. There is the 10th. Slightly moves from left to right. The man who's moved and stayed ahead of the rest of the pack, even though Keegan McLaughlin caught him at one stage. Still, Chris Long, the amateur, at 6 under par. Today, 2 under with a very good 68. He's followed on from that 68 yesterday and nicely in control. Thank you very much for asking. Ben Follett-Smith, and Follett-Smith, of course, successful at Waterkloof. Unfortunately for the Bushveld Tour, it is the Zimbabwean Follett-Smith who is playing down in the Eastern Cape at the moment on a Sunshine Tour event, one of the big easy events. And that's what it looks like on the order of merit. Kurt Groenewald there in 3rd, followed by Wiltshire, Saules, Hubert and Deisel, who are joint in 6th spot at 4,500 Rand. from the middle of the 10th fairway. Jonathan Volsnoch a little bit further back, but it wouldn't be much of a worry. Not much more than about a 9-iron to a wedge in for him. Oh, that is beautifully done. Lovely to see a young man in control of his game like that. Took the long iron off the tee. Left himself with slightly more work to do, but totally in control of that shot to control the spin beautifully. The Oxgay River in full flow with all the rain we've had in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Not so much here in the Fourways area. It's only started raining here in the last 2 weeks or so, but it has made the world's worth of difference. All of a sudden, the grass is green everywhere. You can water it as much as you like. Nothing quite like rain. Ricky Hendler. Faithful mate Aubrey on the bag, and that's just a hold-off little sand wedge flick in there, but he caught the fringe, and took that last hop off it. That would have helped. Got a downhill putt from there, and quite a swinger too. Playing for position. Wise at this stage. Cross the line at the top there, and there is a horrible swing. I'm sure you won't mind me saying so. That was clear for everyone to see. At least I hope not. Learnt his trade here, member here, as well as at Michalis Park. 2 very different golf courses and a very different pre-shot routine from him. Good swing. No, that's also gone right. Oh my word. That looked like such a good swing until he let the club go. Just a 3-iron for position here on the 10th. So the man from Anna Maria Island, lefty. Mutter, mutter, mutter. O'Leary. Currently in the 9th spot at 2 under par. Watch this thing duck from left to right. There it goes. Well, he borrowed too much. Knew it as he struck the putt. Has not been able to make a move so far today on day 2 of the Dainfern Golf Estate Championship here on the Bushveld Tour, brought to you by TrueSport.tv. The man battling with food poisoning, and unfortunately he is not making a move at all. He's holding steady, fair enough, but still. And their playing partner Jonathan Volsnoch. Just a very tender 18, but playing with maturity beyond his years. Oh no, he pulled that. Well, well, well. That was almost in gimme range, but not quite. He's going to be dreadfully disappointed in his putting stroke there. Maybe a tad quick on that one. So he strides to the 11th. He's teed it up there. And started off with that drop shot on the first. 11th, of blood to the head. On the 10th, now you can see why he was watching that so carefully. That was dangerously close to trouble on the left-hand side. And that's not in the clear either. He may have short-sided himself a little here. O'Leary. tied in the 9th place, together with Mackenzie, Roots, and Groenewald. 4 behind at this stage. 3 quick birdies, and it's a different story altogether. Interesting 2-finger overlap here for him. So trying to hit it as high as he can. McLaughlin now with his 3rd on the 10th. Not a lot of space to give the golf ball some landing rights, and that's exactly what happened. He had to try and get cute with it, and he got too cute. Back to Hendler, fighting food poisoning and waves of nausea. This will not be fun, especially not in the warm sun. It's leaping up to just short of 30 degrees. Looks like he's hit that relatively well. Yep, he's staring it down. So now McLaughlin will be feeling the pressure. He's just 1 behind. Needs to hold this to make par. Don't know if he's hit that hard enough. No, he hasn't. Out of almost nowhere, this drop shot here on what is an innocuous little hole, the 10th. And McLaughlin will drop at least 1 on this man, young Chris Long, the amateur. He leads at 6 under. Can he squiggle 1 more shot out of it? He does. That's beautifully holed. That moved about 2 balls outside left, and he makes his 5th birdie after coming home in 32 at the turn, and a 3rd birdie there for him. That looks really pretty. Carded 4 birdies and an eagle yesterday in his round of 68. Unfortunately dropped shots on 14 and 15. And Oliver Goldhill, he has another one like that. My word. That's the 2nd one of the round. A complete horseshoe. So McLaughlin to try and stop the bleeding, and that's not completely done yet either. Good 3 feet there. That's going to move from his left. Got the broomstick out. Can he sweep that in? Oh. Well. Tee shot was not dramatically bad. 2nd, he left himself in a very, very difficult position. Tried to get too cute. And from there, it's 3 putts as well on top of it all. So a horrible double for McLaughlin on the 10th hole. And after making 4 birdies and then that 1 drop on the 7th, this double is certainly going to cost him. Meanwhile, it's Long, who is at 6 under. Only got a wedge in his hand here on the 11th. Lovely free flowing swing. Goldhill needs to get rid of what happened on the previous green. Get it out of the head. It's gone. There's nothing you can do about it now. Lovely rhythm from the 22-year-old. And that looks good. McLaughlin. He needs to follow exactly the same thought process. Put that disaster out of your head. It's gone. Done, and what's gone, same story. That looked a little snatchy as well. Mackenzie, the first time that we see the green on the par 4 13th. Very solid roll. So news then from the course that Long has picked up some more shots, and he's at 9 under par after the 11th. The Dainfern Golf Estate, divided and designed into 14 villages, each one with very unique charm. And the Four Ways area certainly built up largely due to the fact that the Dainfern Golf Estate was started here in late 1991. Golf course really got underway in 1992. Some fine professional tournaments have been held here, and the whole area exploded due to the fact that this golf course was here. Certainly to a great degree, earlier shopping centres that were started here, Broadacres, and then the Dainfern shopping centre itself. And from there, of course, Four-Way Shopping Centre became a big attraction too in this part of the world. Also the gateway to Hartbeespoort Dam, and if you're driving to Sun City from Johannesburg, you go right past this gate. Volsenach didn't spare the horses that time, did he? O'Leary, who plays out of Steyn City, right next door. In fact, the driving range from the Dainfern Club, you sometimes get golf balls over the wall into the Steyn City area. Got the big stick out. He has lashed that. So Werner Dijssel. Here's another par 3 that is a very interesting proposition. The 16th down the hill. Measures 199 from the back. Today, probably playing round about 155. Another one of the par 3s here that is way below the actual tee itself. Two large Sahara's deserts left and right. If there's any place you want to miss, it's either short or long. Simon Deploy, he started off his campaign yesterday with a 71. Not happy with where he's teed it up. And looking at where he is teeing it up here, probably just trying to hit a high soft draw. Sometimes it's so difficult to discern the body English. At first he was happy with it, and then I think once it got up there it moved a little too much. Wilsonach on the 13th. Shortish par 4 with a downhill second shot. It's a good place to leave it. Back to 16, and Kurt Groenewald, third on the order of merit, but needs a good finish here to close the gap on Ben Follett-Smith. Don't need to say much, do I? Dylan O'Leary coming off a stunning eagle on the 12th. Two under for his round. Always high. It was a lovely roll though. Really have helped his cause if he could have knocked that in. But, like they say in the classics, could have, would have, schmould have. Wilsonach, rather disappointing effort there. That rushed body language tells you that he's not a happy camper. Expected so much more from himself. About 3 feet left here for O'Leary. Maybe just inside left. Took all the break out of it. Hit it for the back of the hole. That's the way to do it. No stress. And now the visitor from Italy. Made a nice move. Up at 6 under par. Birdies on 12 and 13. Drop shot on 14 though, and that I think is a spot of bother. Ricardo's got the rangefinder out, and he's still making up his mind what to hit. We'll go to Keegan McLaughlin here on the 13th. Spin. Thank you very much for listening. Young man from Silver Lakes. He's got one of his best mates, Francois van der Walt, on the bag for him. Ricardo's decided what to do. Doesn't look like much more than an 8-iron in the hand. Watching it anxiously. Is that drifting a little to the right? Perhaps. Such a tough hole. Not a lot of place to miss. Creer at 5 under. 3 under for the round here in the second and final day of the championship at the Dainfern Golf Estate. Proudly brought to you by treesport.tv. Has he overcooked the draw a little? Maybe. Difficult to tell if he liked that or not. To the leader, who's at 9 under, and he's got a healthy lead now. And look at how precise he was with that little pitch. Oh, gets here in terrible trouble. He short-sighted himself and the green slopes away from him too. It'll be almost impossible to get this within 3 or 4 feet unless he works an absolute miracle. Yeah, there you go. Pitches on the downslope, and that first bounce is always a big one in that scenario. Goldhill, who was in second overnight, now 5th. Another one of the amateurs competing hard. That just ran out of steam completely. That you have to assume is a mishit right off the face. Must have missed the sweet spot on the putter. So a mixed bag for Goldhill. Turns at 1 under, and he's 2 under up to that point. And now Kruger. He's left himself with a very long putt. Over the brow, down the hill. Chris Long with that massive drive of his on the 13th. Left himself this for the 3. Yes, ma'am. Faultless card at this stage. Birdies on 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12 and 13, and not one blemish on the card. Now guess, he has to try and hold this to make par. Much more of a mixed bag for him. A drop shot on 8, drop on 14, and oh so close, but not any cigar for him either. So a drop shot here on 16, not able to keep the pressure up. McLaughlin, Order of Merit leader. Birdie opportunity to try and stop the bleeding, and not able to do so. And then Tricado also wields the broomstick putter. Solid beginning to the back 9 frame. Birdied 11, 12 and 13. Can he do the same thing on 16? An emphatic no. Kruger. Hasn't dropped a shot all day. 3 birdies up to this point. At the 16th green can be treacherous at times. Subtle little breaks. Oh, just like that one. That looked good. 18 inches away from the hole. Throwing cash away at this stage. Every single shot is vital. Ricardo. Very deliberate on that par putt, and so he should be. Was 2 over at the turn, but it's much better on this 9. Now Chris Long. on the 14th. It plays a little shorter than its 388, and the flag just 6 from the right-hand edge, but quite a long way back in the green. McLaughlin, he is 3 over just for the back nine here. Oh my word, and he's given that a real rush. The birdie putt, but he's put himself under pressure here again. Last thing you want if you feel like the game is unraveling just a little. Goldhill, the birdie putt. Oh, he was up and out of that so quickly. Look at how much that moved. I know that he cut across it to a certain degree, so it made it move even more, but huge swing from left to right here, and that was only about 8-9 feet away. Just 2 under for the day. Needed a better one than that. Rock solid, McLaughlin. That's more like it, Keegan. The burly figure of Slade Pickering. This is also on the 16th. Can't believe how long the ball falls out of the sky when it gets to the top of its apex here on 16. The green is way below the tee. And then Stewie Krog. He happens to be 19th on the order of merit. And there's a lot of pressure here playing for your own money. Entry fees go into the pot. First prize here today, 8,000 Rand for the TrueSport.tv series, with prize money all the way down to 15th place, which will give you 1,300 Rand. Connor McKenzie, just 1 under for his round, 3 birdies, 2 drops. Put this ball back in the stance, trying to squeeze this down the hill. Looks relatively happy with that strike. Right over the hole. So he'd be happy with that. Would have liked that to have been a bit closer. But he's putting up the hill towards the hole. Uphill putt always turns a little less. So Chris Long at 11 under par for the tournament. 5-shot lead with just 4 holes to play. Dylan O'Leary and Slade Pickering not able to put any pressure on him at this stage, and Connor McKenzie slipping down the leaderboard. To Dylan O'Leary, who's also high up. This is one of the highest points on the golf course. See for miles from here. On a clear day, you can see the Auckland Park Tower. turns away almost immediately. The 18-year-old Jonathan Wilsenach. Had a drop on the 14th, so Wilsenach would have loved to have got this really close. Has to try and finish with 3 quick birds. He's decided to bring this in as high as he can. There it is on the left-hand side of your screen. It's not a bad spot to leave it. Perhaps didn't quite get as much of a draw on it as he wanted to. So Chris Long, 11 under par, a 5-shot gap over O'Leary and Pickering at this stage. The beauty of the Dainfern Golf Estate, with thousands of different species of fauna and flora. And it's lovely how the Dainfern Nature Association have been able to preserve and build up even more biospheres since the golf course was established. Dylan O'Leary looking for a deuce here at the 16th. This will move a lot from his left to his right. Giving it a good run, and there she goes. 3 birdies in a row. This is a big move from O'Leary at exactly the right time, because he had that eagle, and 3 birdies now. Wow. Looking good, kid. Wilsenach, can he also make a 2 here on the tough par 3? Oh. As Alex Ferguson would have said, squeaky bum time. You could almost hear it. That's so close. Still no birdies on the card for Wilsenach on the homeward journey. Oliver Goldhill, that's just moving away from the hole. A hard left bounce and continue going from right to left. So we go to the man who's taken control virtually from the first shot of the tournament yesterday, here at Dainfern Golf Estate, Chris Long, on the 16th. It looks like the wedge again. Can it possibly be? Looks happy with it. It's a hazy day today. It's certainly not overcast. It's sunny enough, but it's one of those hazy days where there's moisture in the air. This is Oliver Goldhill. Previous player we saw there with a pink shirt on was Simon Deploy. Local lad, beautifully through the ball, lovely balance as well. And then can McLaughlin stop this horror show? Double on the 10th, drop shot on the 11th, double on the 15th, pars sandwiched in between. What can he salvage here? Doesn't like that one either. Meanwhile, trouble for the man from Italy, 28-year-old Philip Getz. And he's got to move the whole of that particular pole there. Luckily, he's got some green to work with. This is right in front of the clubhouse, the 18th. Don't think he hit that quite the way he wanted to. The flag on the 18th all the way right to the back and only 5 from the left-hand side. The green is 38 meters long. Here in the meantime, though, on the 16th is Gold Hill. Long birdie putt up the hill. Oh, and that's sped by. That's a good 10, 12 feet past the hole. So McLaughlin and Goldhill to a certain degree have climbed on the bogey train. At the final hole, Luke Tricado from Atlantic Beach in Cape Town. Hit his second shot to there, and that is a definite birdie. And when he knocks that in, which I have no doubt he will, he's home in 31 in the end. So a 69. Unfortunately, the front 9 let him down a bit. 3 drop shots there. Back to the travails and the slings and arrows of misfortune of Keegan McLaughlin. It's not quite going to right the ship, but at least it's a rock-solid par. And then Kruger. The man from Swartklip. So, Goldhill has worked so hard to get to this point. 5 under. Ah, yes, sir. That's nicely done. Needed that. That would have been a confidence booster. He got a little over-enthusiastic with that birdie putt. So he stays in 3rd place, tied up at 5 under with Pickering and Getz. Here is Chris Long. Played wonderful golf. Ah, such a sweet tee shot, and he would have thought that deserves it too, but it just bled to the right at the last second. Again though, rock solid, par 3, 7 under for the day, and leading the tournament by a healthy 4 shots at this stage. Stuart Krog with his second shot on 18 over the Yuxkay River. That's a good shot. This green is elongated away from the players as they come in. 38 meters long this green is, and the pin position there on 18, only 5 from the left. Connor McKenzie. I beg your pardon, Slade Pickering. Doesn't like that. I think that's leaked right in a big way. Ho, 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 ho. It held on. There's a massive slope here. 3 more feet to his right, and he would have gone all the way down the hill and possibly even ended up in the water. And now Mackenzie. Two under for the day, 3 for the championship. That's right in the heart of the green. 2 putt from there, take the birdie, sign the card, take it to the scorers. The Dainfern Golf Estate high from the sky, and a man who is flying high at the top of the leaderboard with a total of 11 under par, Chris Long. Dylan O'Leary is right there or thereabouts, all on his own some lonesome with a 2-shot gap back to 3rd place. Nice move from Arno Pretorius, who eventually signed off for a 68, 4 under par. That's one of the biggest moves on the second and final day of the TrueSport.tv series here at the Dainfern Golf Estate, the 3rd in the series, starting off at Waterkloof, then to Irene, and finally here on the north side of Johannesburg. The driving range, very clear to see right in the middle of your picture, and that beautiful elbow of the Yukskay River framing it all. Gold Hill on the 17th, very interesting par 4. You've got 2 pathways to get here, either, as they would say in the classics, the highway or the low way. And if you hit the ball a long way, you can almost get it there if you can hit a big draw. And that famous landmark, the water pipe at the back. It's the first time that we really get to see it properly. Chris Long. Again, he's played absolute textbook golf all the way through. Birdie putt, again not to be, but he has been utterly consistent. Look at that. Out in 32, and that par 5, the way he's playing, should be a birdie opportunity. The big guy with the soft touch hands, Slade Pickering. Started at 2 under par this morning. He's picked up 3 more shots. This is a long putt up the hill. Oh boy. Wouldn't be happy with that. McLaughlin. He's at a horrible inward 9. He's 5 over this side. And he leaves that one right in the throat as well. On the 18th, Connor McKenzie. Remember, he hit his shot right into the heart of the green here. He's got that interesting Bernard Langer grip, but it's split apart. Oh, gave it a serious run for its money. And then Gold Hill back on the 17th green, exactly 1 hole further back. Oh, he's leaked another one. He's done that 3 times today. Just didn't keep the putter square through the hitting area, and that leaks out of nowhere. It leaks to the right, and he leaves himself having to write down a drop shot on the 17th. Again, a hole which really, for his level, almost criminal to have done that. Stuart Krog. Up the hill for his eagle. Still. That would have made him some money, no doubt about that. But not a lot left there, and that should be a 4 and should bring him home in 36. But that outward 9 of his certainly cost him a lot of bucks. Went out in 40. So he does end up making that birdie, which is good news for the young man from Chapman Golf Club in Harare. Pickering misjudged this first putt terribly. It is uphill all the way. Some right to left as well, and he's underread that woefully. Not exactly the 3-putt that he would have liked to have ended off with. And that's not dead yet either. Connor McKenzie needs this birdie putt to sign off on a 70, and he does. Beautifully rolled in like treacle over a hot stove. Finished with a 70 on day 2 after carding exactly the same number on day 1. At this stage, that leaves him in a very solid 6th place. Mackenzie, look at how much that moved. That was only 2 feet or so, if not less, and he had to start that outside the hole. So he comes home in 69, but for that drop shot on 16. And then Krog, as we showed you, comfortably makes the birdie. And they quite clearly enjoyed each other's company. The 18th. Here's a really lovely look at it. So the tee shot, you need to start in the middle of the fairway, perhaps just to the right hand side of this little tree as you look at the hole, and hit that power fade. And if you can make it hit somewhere around about where that green spot in the fairway that we're flying over now, and you start getting some left to right turn on the fairway, you could leave yourself with a lovely shot back in. If you happen to hit a draw, you'll end up somewhere over here, and then you leave yourself with a shot of about 220 meters to the green. That flag back left, and it is just 5 meters from the left hand side, almost tucked behind that bunker. Like an upturned saucer as well, the 18th green is. O'Leary. Let's watch the shot of his. Barely got it over the water, but it looked like a good lie, and he's given that absolutely everything he's got. It looked like it was lovely, well done. That looked like it was a good 5-6 iron in. Volsenach, the 18-year-old, middle of the fairway. Lovely rotation. It's asking it to go. That'll do. Nicely. Brave shot. Some of the finest names in golf have strode these fairways, and it's been championship material for many, many years. The Gary Players of the world, Simon Hobday, who was triumphant here in 1997 in the Senior Classic, Jaco Prinsloo, Jaco Ahlers, Okkie Strydom, some of the men who have played well here over just the last few years, where there have been 2 fine championships on the Sunshine Tour. Oh, that side hill putt and moving away right to left and hard. Wilsenach with the eagle attempt. This will make a big dent in the prize money for him if he happens to get it there. Rock solid birdie 4 though, and in the end he comes home with a 70. O'Leary. This will be a putt that will move a lot from his left, even though it can't be much more than about 7 feet. You can afford to be a little aggressive with this one. Take some of the break out of it. He's done that. Applause from his playing partners. And look at that, coming home in 30. An eagle and 4 birdies. That is a magnificent effort, and he vaults up the leaderboard and finishes on a total of 8 under par. The 31-year-old estate, Dainfern Golf Estate, looking beautiful from the sky. And looking beautiful in the lead is Chris Long, a 22-year-old from Bryanston Country Club, setting the pace with a 4-shot margin with less than a hole to play. McLaughlin could do with just 1 birdie. Would that be too much to ask? Very controlled swing, and not much more than a 6 or a 7 iron, but that went into the trap, we believe. And now the 22-year-old local man. That very interesting move as he rehearses. He's bringing that in high, those hands finished high as well. That's beautiful. Going to have a tricky downhill putt from there, but if anyone knows that putt, it is the young man with the pink shirt. And now the champion-elect, Chris Long. Oh boy. Not happy with that. Did he leave that short and left? So remember, we're just coming through the last ravages of winter, and some of the areas here, even though it has been raining for the last 2 weeks or so on and off, over the weekend we had a lot of rain, and on Monday night it was bucketing down here at one stage. But that is a big slope, that green on the left hand side surrounded by the 2 bunkers, that's the 18th, and there's a massive slope from the edge of the green all the way down to the H2O. So that is then where he left it. Played safe and then made a horrible hash of that sandwich shot. Now he's run it up to there. Has a 4-shot advantage, but you surely, 3-shot advantage, I beg your pardon, but you surely don't want to use it, do you? There is a lovely shot from McLaughlin. And that will leave him an uphill putt too. Chris Long. Could take 5 from there, but you don't want to do that, do you? Oliver Goldhill hit a lovely approach shot. This is for the eagle. Really vault him up into second spot. Oh. No problems though, and he makes a birdie 4 on the last, and a 35 homeward journey. Then Keegan McLaughlin. Can he finish off with a little flurry here? He does indeed. Beautifully done. That'll ease some of the pain. Comes home in 35. I beg your pardon, that's the wrong scorecard there for you. So unfortunately, problems for Keegan McLaughlin on his way in. But here is the man who's going to take the winner's check and the title. Chris Long, the amateur from Bryanston. Oh boy, oh boy. Unfortunately finishes with a drop shot, the only blemish on his card on the 18th, but luckily that won't mute the celebrations too much. Out in 32, back in 34, 66 final round, coupled with the 68 in round 1, and that's a wonderful performance from the young man from Bryanston Country Club, not too far away from here. Solid as a rock was Chris Long, the 22-year-old from Johannesburg. So Keegan McLaughlin wins the Order of Merit, even though he slid all the way off, or almost off, the front page of the leaderboard. The winner is Chris Long, though, with that great 66 of his in the final round. It could have been 65 for that last putt, but the 18th is not an easy finish hole, even though it is a par 5. If you make a mistake, you pay. Dylan O'Leary takes the runners-up spot all by himself, and Goldhill, Pickering and Gertz from Italy are the 3 men who are in 3rd place together at 5 under par, and that is 5 behind your winner at the Treesport.tv series at Dainfern Golf Estate, Chris Long, who shot 10 under par to win the first prize of 8,000 Rand. A great performance. Big move for Bert Geldenhuys as well as Travis Ladner, who both shot 67 on the final day, and both of them would have been overjoyed with that. Unfortunately, the men there in 16th place would have ended up with nothing as far as the money was concerned. Only the top 15 get prize money here. So unfortunately for them, they finish out of the money, but it would have been great experience to know how to finish hard. So, from all of us here at Dainfern Golf Estate, for the whole team from Treesport.tv and everyone else who's helped us make this the big success that it has been, with the news that Chris Long is your 2022 Dainfern Golf Estate champion, as brought to you by Treesport.tv, I'm Arnold Geertz saying thanks for watching.